Welcome back. You are watching Sarhad Ke Us Par, a special program telecast from Kabul and Islamabad. Our guest over here has a question.
Can we have an exchange program with of teachers, students, social activists, especially parliamentarians?
Quick response from UG, and then we'll go across to Kabul.
I think this is very positive, and we should. I think we should have more interactions on women on different levels. I'm a firm believer that instead of taking support from in any form from the West, we do understand we have societies which are weak. I think our nations and our countries are asking us today that we need to go and strive and struggle for the rights of our women.
All right, thank you very much. I will go across now to Kabul. Mr. Sultan Zoy, you know, over here women are very keen to build bridges, whether it's a parliamentarian, whether it's somebody right over here, whether it's a rights activist. I would like to ask my friend Arya. She said she had lived in Pakistan, she had been part of the civil rights movement. Why is it that women in both countries, and it amazes me, fought the same enemy, yet they didn't build bridges with each other? What kept them apart? Why didn't they, bring forces together, bring their heads together and find a solution to something that they face, which is a common enemy?
Thank you, Munize, for the question. I think the right question to ask is on which shoulders or where to place the work of connecting the women and the people of the two countries for the betterment of the life of the people in both the countries.
There has been discussions, there has been negotiations at the community and at the civil society level. I myself was invited by Dr. Fahmida Mirza in 2010, and I was also the host of members of parliament from Pakistan last year. But the people who make the troublemakers, people who create problems, they need to sit and talk.
Right.
Women in the two countries have not been the troublemakers.
Thank you very much. Back to you.
Thank you, Mr. Sultan Zoid. I had a question over here.
I think, Muniza, you said it earlier. Do we really, has there been enough condemnation of the international community in going forward into a peace process without putting women's issues on the table or without adequate involvement of women? I mean, I agree completely that there's enough, there is need for solidarity across borders, women need to raise their voice against it, but have we actually condemned, and has there been an open questioning of why this process has not looked at women's issues? We have a resolution by the UN 1325, which says women have to be involved in any peace process. And then we have the international community, the saviors of so-called women who came in earlier, who completely disregard that. So have we raised that enough? I feel like there's been an absence, and even within our national process, there were no women involved in the meetings that were held. So I think we've been silent on that, and I think that needs to be highlighted, and somehow we need to, I would like your views on that.
In the all-parties conference that you had, which decided that this is going to be the parameters of the talks with the Taliban, did women get heard?
Women were actually not heard, but their issues were very much there on the table. They were on the table, and I don't see if women issues are not heard and they're not worked for, so there can be no peace. And how can we have sustainable peace?
You need to have women's rights as much a center of that process as you need to have women's rights central to the debate, which is a political debate, not just a debate within government, but outside government. But I think above all what you need is to look at women's rights as a part of human rights.
Right.
And that is where in both Pakistan and Afghanistan, there are huge challenges. There's a question asked about, can Islamabad and Kabul work together? How can they work together? I think that's a very important question. What this perhaps program lends itself to is that dialogue. But that dialogue, if you're talking about strong institutions, if we go into this next phase of democracy, with democracy strengthened, it is up to civilian actors, for civilian institutions to guide that process of building bridges with Afghanistan, instead of ceding that responsibility to non-representative forces.
Thank you so much for joining us on this show, and also thank you to you for taking out your time for this show. We thank also our guests in Kabul, Mr. Sultan Zoy, and our 3 very distinguished guests on the panel, and of course, the Kabul people who turned up for this show.
Thank you very much.
So the consensus in Pakistan remains that the barometer of a democratic society is how inclusive it is of its women and its minorities. But the challenge for Afghan women and Pakistani women is not just battling extremism, but it is also building bridges with tolerant forces on both sides of the divide. This week, good night and goodbye till we see you next week again.